Hello and welcome to What the Flick, rare opportunity that all of us are here. Introducing Ben Mankiewicz.
As the girl.
As the girl, exactly. And Alonso Duralde and Christy Lemire, and I'm Matt Atchity. There's some banging off screen, but you know, that's okay. It's, we're pretty
welcome to our world.
Exactly. So, how'd everybody do this weekend? Good? Bad?
How did we do this weekend? How did you do this weekend?
I worked. What did you?
I worked. Well, I flew back from Atlanta Saturday, but I mean, usually how I do this weekend, the answer is I lost about $1,000 because I couldn't get a winner yesterday. But otherwise,
baseball now? Is it
baseball?
Okay.
Yeah,
But you know who did really well?
Yeah.
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski had a great weekend.
Right?
Yes, he did.
Great weekend. Quiet Place, $45 million.
As I always remember Brett Ehrlich describing him once on Infomania as a guy who's done really well with my face.
Yeah, that's right. He does have Brett Ehrlich's face. I think it ended up at 50. The 45 was the projection.
50 is what they're saying. Yeah.
50 million.
I thought like 25 was a projection. I thought it wasn't.
45 was the projection. Like once the weekend had started, like after,
and they're like, all of
a sudden,
it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay. Yeah.
The word is out on A Quiet Place.
I think this is, it's funny, like, you know, I write a DVD column every month for movies.com, and so I get a lot of press releases about titles that you will never see or hear of. There are so many horror films that exist in the world, and I think that for indie filmmakers and first-time filmmakers and people working with a low budget, it's a crapshoot worth taking because you can turn a tiny little thing that hits in the right way into something gigantic. This obviously is not a tiny little thing. It's, you know, Platinum Dunes, it's got stars, it's got Michael Bay executive producing it. But, you know, you look back at how, like, what tops the box office every week, and horror movies so frequently really find a big audience right away.
But so much of this, I mean, no pun intended, is word of mouth. You know,
Yes,
I mean, and
sure.
that began at South by Southwest a month ago, which is, of course, a great place to show a movie like this. So it already had amazing buzz around it. Again, no pun intended. I keep making like onomatopoeia, like noise puns by accident, but I really hope that when people saw it over the weekend that they had the same experience that we had, where it was just a silent theater and people weren't like jerks about it.
No, I went Thursday night and it was packed and it was, you could hear a pin drop.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that because people like weren't on their phones and texting and nonsense like that.
And I was thinking about it. You know, we talked about how there's that constant thing of like, how do we get people into the theater? Like, what experience can we provide them that they're not going to get if they Netflix and chill, you know? And so, you know, for a while it was 3D, and then after Gravity, suddenly it was the kind of big sort of spectacle, you know, shot in 70mm kind of thing like that. You know, that yes, you really have to see this in the theater. It's not going to be the same if you watch it later. And the idea of this dark space of silence, I think, is also a thing where you really need to see this in a theater because it's not going to be the same if you try and watch it at home.
I suspect it will also have a really, really great next weekend because it will have that hold and it will have that word of mouth.
It was a big weekend overall. The weekend attendance was up 25%, 24% from last weekend because 3 movies did really well. You know, Blockers and the other one.
Blockers and the other one?
The
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, and then had a very slight drop.
Well, yeah, because I was reading it dropped about 40%, which is fairly normal. Batman versus Superman dropped 69%.
I think that's like a record holder. Yeah. I mean, not a slight drop, but a pretty small one for a movie that was that front loaded and that was coming off like I mean, it opened on a Thursday.
It's basically it's the norm. It's the expected drop. It didn't. But the number 4 movie this week, I mean, it's Black Panther. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Which is now the 3rd highest grossing domestic release of all time.
Yeah, it's got 2.
Behind Titanic.
No, it passed Titanic.
Avatar?
It passed Titanic.
Behind Avatar and Leon Pete.
Crush Groove.
Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. Yeah, so the Black Panther just shows no. I mean, Black Panther, I think is. I mean, is it just going to stay in the top 10 until Avengers: Infinity War opens? Is that the thing?
I don't know. Did you guys see SNL? Did you guys see Chadwick Boseman on SNL?
Yes.
Oh my God, Black Jeopardy was amazing this time.
I did not catch it.
You can find it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on.
It was really sharp, and like the way that they used that T'Challa character was really, really clever.
Yeah.
I think they could have gone a lot of different directions with that. Clearly, he had to be T'Challa. He was briefly James Brown.
Yeah, for a hot second. Yeah, no, there was some good stuff on that show.
So, by the way, Star Wars: The Force Awakens is what's of course in front of Avatar. So those are the 2 that it could chase down. But Star Wars would have to do a lot more chasing. Avatar's catchable.
So these are the non-adjusted.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, that's very impressive.
Speaking of Star Wars, have we all watched the new trailer for Solo?
No. Maybe we'll do it on Wednesday.
If we talk about it on Wednesday, I will watch it.
We'll talk about it on Wednesday.
I don't like watching trailers. Y'all make me now.
Did Bradford Young?
I don't make monkeys. Solo? I just train them.
You guys made real quick. You guys may have talked about this. But I guess for A Quiet Place, which I haven't seen yet, which I'll see this week. But it was going to be the original plan from the writers was to put it in the Cloverfield franchise, and Paramount wanted it.
Oh, really?
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a studio stepping in and making the right decision.
For once. For once.
And I saw Krasinski's last movie as a director. I would never have expected that.
Scott Beck and Brian Woods, the writers, they told that story that originally that was the intent.
Yeah, great tweet from Stephen King about A Quiet Place, where he tweets, A Quiet Place is an extraordinary piece of work, terrific acting, but the main thing is the silence and how it makes the camera's eye open wide in a way few movies manage. And then Krasinski responds, brain not processing, uh-oh, don't black out, John, don't black out, too late. So when the master of horror pretty much says your movie's awesome.
I mean, I think that people are getting a little bananas about it. I liked it a lot. I think it's really effective. I totally recommend it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But it's also the kind of movie that as soon as it's over, you're like, wait a minute, why did they, and how come, and why would they, and how, there's a lot of, it doesn't hold up to a lot of scrutiny. Well, but that doesn't make it not any less fun in the moment.
Our friend Kyle Buchanan at Vulture did a great piece about why didn't they wear socks?
Right, well, Dave was saying that too, like you slide across the floor, but.
Why did she get pregnant in the first place?
But Alonso, isn't that there's a significant distinction between doesn't hold up to the scrutiny after, which happens to me all the time. Right. You're like, walk out and you're like, wait a minute. And doesn't hold up to the scrutiny during the movie.
Oh, totally. No. In the moment.
That's every Adam Sandler movie.
Well, yeah. But no, it is so suspenseful, and you are, I was eating my hand for the movie. It was, you're so worried about making any noise that you don't think about that stuff as it's happening. Yeah, no, he very masterfully puts you in that space and that sound space and makes you feel all that stuff. It's only on the walk home where you're like,
maybe there were others, but I saw one tweet or Instagram of somebody who said they got to cut their nails because their nails had dug into their hands and they had these divots coming out of the movie, which was pretty cool.
One of the things I saw people kept discussing was how long they'd last in that environment. I'd be dead the first night because I snore.
Yeah.
I'd be gone the first night, just gone.
Yeah, I'm just noisy in general.
Dave snores, drops things. I mean, I'm a klutz too. It would not last. Just a couple other things in the box office for this weekend. The Miracle season opened outside of the top 10 because, again, apparently, I Can Only Imagine is eating all the other faith-based movies.
Did they even screen that for us?
They did, yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, I sent somebody. I didn't go, but it is now pretty much clocked this movie and the third God's Not Dead movie and that Paul one with
Jim Caviezel.
Yes, the Jim Caviezel one. So yeah,
I want to point out that's a little weird, right? Because Caviezel played Jesus,
right?
And then he's playing like #1 fan Paul.
Yeah,
that's like
what can't he do?
Did Paul like go do cosplay?
He's the go-to guy. He's our Charlton Heston. Think of it that way.
Oh, okay.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, wait, so Caviezel's going to protect us from those damn dirty apes?
From his cold dead hands.
Chappaquiddick did well. Huh?
Chappaquiddick did really well. Past expectations was 6.2 mil, which still made the top 10. And a movie I liked a lot that I saw last year at Venice, Lean on Pete, had a 50,000 per screen average. So hopefully that's going to open wider. I was quoted on the A24 ad, and they misspelled my name.
Oh,
Yay!
How'd they do it this time? With a Z?
Alonso Duralde.
Oh.
It's a written review. My name is right there.